So telling me on the phone is one thing, but I didn't realize how bad it was until she was in front of me showing me the pictures and the videos of the rash on her leg and the nerve pain down into her foot to where you could barely even touch it. That's bad. All right, so shingles, guys, is a virus that lays dormant in someone's body until their immune system lowers to a point to where it activates. And when it activates, it's not pretty. You know, that's where you need that crisis care medical intervention.
Running up your spinal cord, you can really get chills from it, huh? I've been paying my tithes all month. See the view too clear when you in front. Feeling like I already won.
Oh man, there's the rash, huh? This is corneal. Now, is this rash still here? Is it still aquí?
No.
No. Okay. And is it constant every day?
Es constante todos los días.
Todos los días, en la noche.
It hurts her, she can't touch it.
Okay. Her foot hasn't had any feeling for about a month. That's a lot. Well, we'll take our time. We'll work slow. We'll figure out, just let her know what we can do, what we can't do, what our limitations are, and we'll figure it out. But as long as we can get in there and get something's better than nothing, and that's what it'll take to get it right. It went from a rash on her leg, which you saw, to now crippling nerve pain, affecting her sleep at night and her ability to walk and just be happy.
Don't let your fear conquer your dreams and get your tail tucked. Too much old.
As we get older, our immune system can get weaker if we don't have good habits in place. And as it gets weaker, it allows inflammation to come in. And the more chronic, low-grade inflammation we have in our body, whether it be structurally on her body or even nutritionally, regardless of which one it is, that invites any dormant virus to kind of kick on and be active, and that's exactly what's happening here. Obviously, I don't adjust viruses. What we're gonna do is we're gonna adjust the spine. Now, the connection between spine, joints, body, posture, and all that good stuff physically is by adjusting the spine and putting motion back into areas that are stuck, stiff, and restricted. We're gonna start to move the inflammation, and we're gonna invite more blood flow to come in. And the indirect effect will be for inflammation to start to drop, but her immune system activity to start to climb, and as a result, we're hoping to get her that win. And it could be one adjustment, she can start to notice a difference. She might start to feel lighter, maybe less nerve pain, but this isn't magic. There is no magic bullet for this, but if we can take care of the spine and do our job, then over time, and hopefully very soon, we'll get the win totally, where she'll sleep better, she'll move better, and all of that will just, again, feed immunity. It'll feed blood flow, it'll feed better sleep, and that will improve quality of life. So that's what we're gonna do here. Looking at here is, let me get a model just so everybody watching can see this. So we're looking at, this is just a model. This is a segment of the let's say the lower spine. This is the actual hardware, the image that we're looking at in her. One of the things that's jumping out at me right out the gate is we're gonna look at this opening here. You see this black hole right there? That opening, guys, is where the nerve and blood flow exit out of. So we're looking at essentially on this model, that same spot on her x-ray. Now, this didn't happen through shingles, but before shingles, and this is what I was alluding to earlier, is that you see there's almost no hole left on that area of your low back. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick that up, but this area has completely started to become very crowded or compressed. And when an area like that becomes crowded and compressed, it's not going to move like a normal spinal segment should move. And what that does is that allows low-grade inflammation to sit in that area. And then that's the nerve and the part of the nerves that are firing down into these legs. So what happens is as our spine starts to degenerate, the connection to whether it be nerve pain now post shingles or anything else is that as this area loses movement and starts to degenerate and get compressed, that ultimately will affect either blood flow, circulation, the way she moves. It'll create compensation, and it's just not a win for her. It's not a win for anyone watching, and that's why it's so important to always have upkeep on your spine, because you never know what virus is all of a sudden going to turn on, you know. But the better the hardware, the better the frame, the more boxes we check where we can reduce inflammation, meaning the way I eat, the way I move, the way I take care of my frame, we're less likely to be exposed to those things, and we're more likely to have better quality of life. So what we see going on here in her low back is just a lot of degeneration down at the base, and that corresponds and correlates to the nerve pain that she's having down into the leg, even though the virus is really what's activating it. it. In the neck area, she just has extremely large forward head carriage. So her posture in her x-ray is just sitting like this. Her spinal joints are degenerated and fused together on the backside. She's got spurs all over. Essentially, guys, it's just wear and tear. She has a lot of degeneration in her spine. That's allowing her neck and her skeletal spine system, to just kind of drop like this. And then that will work its way all the way down the column and even create that compression down on her low back. So I get a call earlier from this woman's family, and they asked me to do a huge favor. They know I'm super busy, calendar stays full. But it's affecting her quality of life. They're concerned, and she's been to tons of doctors already. And the only thing they're doing is they're throwing meds at it, and rightfully so. There's a time and place for it. But it's been over a month and change, and she's not doing any better. So now she comes to me, and now I have to deal with the crisis. Now, holistically speaking, or natural-minded, I'm not going to treat, obviously, the virus. There's no adjustment that turns off a virus. But what I can do is I can treat her spine. I can look at that because the spine is a source of dysfunction and inflammation. My job is to inhibit that inflammation by putting motion or movement and adjusting those dysfunctional areas in her spine. And by doing that, we're going to reduce inflammation. And if we can do that, we might help her immune system kick on, get a little more active, and help kind of put that back into a dormant state. Everything I'm gonna do with her is gonna, unfortunately, make her a little uncomfortable. I always think about it like if a dentist or a hygienist is working on someone's cavity. If they're working around the cavity, it's gonna be sensitive. You know, and here I am working on an area that's inflamed right now. She's got the nerve pain down her leg. It's impossible for it not to. But what I also know, she doesn't know it yet, but she will know it, is as we work through it and we find what pace is best for her, we're gonna get the win. Has she ever been adjusted before?
She has not.
Never. So 72 years, really bad pain right now, and I've got to be her first chiropractor.
Ese brazo lo va a agarrar la él.
Aquí.
Yup,
Sí,
ahí.
sí, sí. Arriba, arriba. Good. We're gonna get right down in that spot I showed you guys on x-ray. Yep. Necesario. Good. Exhale. I got you. I got you. Relájate, relájate. Good. Good. She's 72. She's in a lot of pain. And here I am moving things around. You know, so it's uncomfortable for really anybody. It has nothing to do with the adjustments, not the adjustment's fault. But we need to get through that. Like I was saying, motion is medicine, movement is medicine. You guys know that, everybody knows that. We're just localizing it and bringing it specifically to the spine. I need to be able to move the left side of her neck next. When she was on her stomach and I was adjusting, I was able to get a little bit. But I know how it should move, and I need more movement in there if I'm gonna get the win, in hopes to calm it down. When we're in pain, our nervous system gets into something called fight or flight mode. It's that same mode like if an animal was chasing you, or you're under a lot of stress, or a car swerves into the lane you're driving in. You're like, oh my God. So our body kind of stays in that system. So the adjustment, she doesn't know it yet, but the adjustment's gonna shift that state into a parasympathetic state. A parasympathetic state is just a fancy word for what we call a rest or digest. It's gonna allow constriction to start to open up, meaning blood. We're gonna get better blood flow. We're gonna change the tone of the muscle. It's gonna be more calming and more relaxing. And that sets the stage for healing, and that's what I want. One of the easiest ways to see it chiropractically is when they take an involuntary sigh. So watch for that. Everybody watching, watch her body language, and then watch her go, that's when we know we hit it. It's no different, guys, than when we get into bed at the end of a long day. You put your feet up, every single one of us goes, that's what I'm looking for here, that same effect. We're gonna give her an auditory fake, a little like that. There we go. I know. Guys, this happens all the time, by the way. This isn't just a 72-year-old thing and a woman with shingles who's really bad, in really bad pain right now. This happens to so many people that have damage on their back, man, that come in here. It doesn't matter the age bracket. I don't care if they're athlete, if they're 30s, 40s, forget the decade in the walk of life. But what I always see is them turn the corner. I always get that text like, man, it was painful when I was going through it. An hour later, a day later, sometimes it even takes 48 or 72. But when you turn that corner, you know what? That was good for me. I need to go through that. Because in the world we live in now, modern medicine doesn't want us to experience pain. It says pain is wrong. So what they do do is, what do? They shovel drugs down our throat and they say cover it up like a Band-Aid. And here I am, the crazy guy saying, look, I know it's uncomfortable now, but if we can get you through it, there's a breakthrough on the other side. We're just trying to do the same thing for her. It's okay, I got you, okay? Got it. It's okay, it's okay. We're just mobilizing the drum, open it up, tractioning it out, creating that space. I want to get her tissue used to it. You just don't want to hop on a cold foot, especially with nerve inflammation down here. Good. Are you okay? Yeah? In one sense, I don't even want to do this, you know, because I want her in pain. But the chiropractic side of me is like, you have to. Good. It's okay? Good. Bingo. That was beautiful. Listo. Muscle tone on both sides of her neck is normal. Symmetry feels good. Atlas feels level. Spinuses feel centered. I mean, I still feel the same thing I see on her x-ray. A lot of degeneration. It feels like bone on top of bone right now. So what I'm going to try to do is my money shot. But with her, we have to cater it different. This is where it's all about the chef in the kitchen. You just don't go grabbing heads and pulling on them. I'm going to have to create, first I'm going to have to find a sweet spot with her because she's the person on the table. And then we have to find a sweet spot of how much tension or tissue pull I can create space-wise with her comfort and introduce maybe just a subtle bit of motion in there to just finish her off. I know it's what's right for her, just don't know if she's going to let me do it. I'm gonna come underneath like this, okay? Like a stretch, okay? I promise, no surprises, okay? You hear me? Surprises. I'm an idiot. Go. Just like this. Good. You okay like this? Okay, excelente. Un más. Respira. Exhale. Good. Respira. Good. Beautiful. You did it. You did it.
Ya.
Ya. Mira arriba. Beautiful. Okay. Two things she should know. One is I'm not able to tell her exactly what's going to happen next. Nobody can. But I know that we took care of the spine and then what's going on in there, and that's one of the boxes that needs to be checked in order for her nerve inflammation to calm down and for her to start to feel better. And that's what we started tonight. The other thing is just, it is going to be a repetition game. Of course, we're going to take you guys along for the ride because this is an Amazon Prime. Healing takes time. So we'll make sure to get, you know, as much as we can in so we can watch the journey unfold. But it is going to take, it's probably going to take some time. In a situation like this with a woman and where she's at and her chapter of life and how severe the condition is, you guys, you saw how severe it is, you know? So she wanted me, you saw disappointment on her face. Here I am telling her it's gonna take a little bit of time. It's quite common. People always give me the look like, really? You can't do it right now? Like I'm holding on to some Jesus adjustment, you know, and if they just squeeze me enough, I'll go ahead and I'll break that out. It doesn't really work like that. It's very common that everyone wants results the minute they get off the table. And sometimes we do get it, and guys, it's a blast, obviously. I love it. Now it doesn't stop here, it starts here. This is day one. She doesn't want to hear that, but that's the reality. Anything that works needs to be compounded in order for it to be most effective. And that's what we're dealing with here. The light will help with things like inflammation, as well as help with blood supply. So what Orlando's doing now is he's going to set her up on the biplate. Vibration is a great tool for circulation, for bone density, and it also can help with things like muscle relaxation. So we're going to use every tool we can right now to just bring as much natural healing into her body as possible. The whole world wants that instant gratification, man. They want that like, yo, is this going to like turn my pain off now? There's not a day goes by, and I've been doing this for almost 12 years, that I don't have someone, especially once you're in that 50, 60, 70-year-old bracket. I had a guy come in today, his spine, there's no discs left, his bone on bone on bone. And this guy is like, yo, so when is my nerve gonna start to feel better in my leg? I can't feel my right leg, and I've gotta travel in a month. And the only thing I'm thinking of is like, where were you the last 30 years? You know, I got a 30-day trial period to change your life. It don't work like that, guys. I mean, there's laws we're working with here, you know, but yeah, of course we want to maximize them, you know, and I want everyone to turn the corner tomorrow. But the reality is I mean, we need to also learn from situations like this. Yes, shingles could happen to anyone, that's one thing, but what I'm talking about is the degeneration we see on our neck. What I'm talking about is making sure we eat right, we move good, we get adjusted regularly, we maintain our body, just like we do our teeth. That way, when we get into situations, we bounce back fast. That's what it's all about. And the unhealthier you are, the slower anyone is to bounce back. It doesn't matter who your chiropractor is, what supplement you take, or what food you eat. And that's why this whole thing is about upkeep. The name of the game, when we see something like this, is yes, I want to help her, but I also think next time I talk to a 20 or 30-year-old, I'm like, you better get your shit straight.